there folks, and a warm festive welcome back to What's for Tea. It's lovely to see you all again, and I hope I'm not too early with the intro, but I've been dying to get it out since last year, so I'm starting the festivities early. So yeah, I hope that I find you well. And tonight for tea I've made these wonderful Balmoral chicken pies. It's so popular here. Basically traditional chicken Balmoral is chicken breast stuffed with haggis and covered in a creamy white pepper or whisky sauce. But I've done that, but I've put everything into a pie. So I'm going to show you how I'm making these, but as usual, all of the ingredients will be underneath the video in the description box. So obviously I've got some haggis, some shortcrust and puff pastry, some chicken stock, and also a shallot, some creme fraiche, some tarragon and salt and pepper. And then I've got a couple of eggs there just to glaze the pastry, and then a wee knob of butter, and you'll need a wee drop of oil as well. This is the haggis that I'm using here, so you won't need it all, but you'll need about 300 grams of the haggis. I'm going to be making 4 individual pies, but you can make the one big pie if you prefer. So the first thing I'm going to do is cook down the haggis. So I'm just going to pop this into a frying pan on a low to medium heat for about 5 minutes, just until it all breaks down and it's starting to go crispy around the edge, just like this, just so that it's nicely broken up and you can easily fit it into your pie. So just cover that and set that to the side for the time being until we get the chicken portion of the pie done. So this is just chicken breast, and I've just chopped this into bite-sized pieces. And then with a larger frying pan, I'm going to melt down a wee knob of butter and some oil. Adding the oil is going to prevent the butter from burning, because it can do. So just add both of those, melt them down, add a shallot, and you want to let this cook for about 5 minutes, just until it's getting nice and soft and slightly crispy. And then you can add the chicken, and you just want to cook the chicken until it's well cooked through, starting to brown, and again starting to colour on the edge. So this will just depend on how big your chicken chunks are, but mine took about 10 minutes just to cook all the way through and starting to colour on the edge, like I said. So once it's looking something like this, you can move on. So I was happy with this one. So I'm going to add in my chicken stock. This is a nice strong chicken stock. I've added 2 of the Knorr jelly stock pots to my water, and you want to let this simmer away for about 10 to 15 minutes until it reduces by half, and it's going to give you a nice concentrated gravy. So I'll just let it simmer away. Like I said, you do want this to reduce by about half, and I was happy with this. So I'm going to make it nice and creamy and thick. So I'm going to add a couple of teaspoons of plain flour to the sauce, just to thicken it up a wee bit. I'm just going to use a whisk just to make sure there are no lumps in there. And you want to let this cook out for about a minute, just to get rid of that raw flour taste. And now we're going to make it nice and creamy. So I am adding some creme fraiche, but you can use double cream if you want it extra creamy. I like to use the creme fraiche because it's got a wee bit of sourness, and it's going to cut through the extra creaminess of these pies. I'm also going to add in some tarragon and also some salt and pepper as well. The amounts are completely up to you, but I'm just showing you what I'm using. And just stir this through, and you want to let this simmer away for a couple of minutes to let the flavour of that tarragon come out into your sauce. And that's it, done. Set that to the side and put your heat off. This is the pastry that I'm using here. I'm using shortcrust for the bottom and puff pastry for the top. If you're good at your own pastry, make your own. I am terrible, so I'm using shop bought, and these are the wee tins that I am using here. I'm also going to use a large cookie cutter for the bottom of my pastry and a smaller cookie cutter for the lid of the pastry as well. But you can draw around whatever you like, or just do it freehand if you prefer. So I'm going to cut out the bases of my pies here from the shortcrust pastry, and it slips in really nice and easy, just like this. And I was happy with this, just as long as it comes right up to the top of your pie. And I'm going to half fill my pie with the chicken mixture. Don't overfill it, because you do want a nice half and half, and then the other half of the pie with the haggis, and just make sure it's nicely pressed down on the top. Now we're going to cut out our lids. So like I said, you want to just, make sure that you've got a nice covering on the top. I don't want mine edge to edge. You'll see at the end exactly how I wanted these to come out, and it just looks ever so pretty. So I didn't cover the whole of the top of the tin, as you can see here, and I would typically do that, but I've done this on purpose. Just make sure it's slightly smaller than the inside edge of your pie, and then just take a wee circle out the top of your pie. I am using an apple corer just because I've got one, but you can easily do this with a knife. This is just to let the steam escape, because you don't want anything bubbling over the top. Just continue to do that for the rest of your pies. And the last thing we're going to do is glaze the top. So I want this extra rich and brown and glossy. So I'm using 1 egg and 1 egg yolk. So just paint that over the top of your pies, just like this. You don't have to use too much. It's just to give you a nice, a nice sheen on the top. So you want to bake these in the middle of your oven for about half an hour or 35 minutes. Gas mark 6, 200C or 400F, and they will come out looking something like this. And because we haven't put the pastry all the way to the edge, it puffs up all on its own, and it creates this kind of donut effect on the top, which I thought was ever so pretty and just a wee bit different. So I'm just going to quickly show you how easily these come out of the tins. Obviously these tins are non-stick, so if you're using not non-stick pans, I would suggest giving them a wee grease with some butter or oil before you pop your pastry in. But yeah, these were fab, and I'll let you see what they're like inside as well. And just a wee side note, if you wanted to add a wee splash of whisky to your sauce, I would do that before you add the chicken stock, because that's quite traditional as well, to add a wee bit of whisky to the sauce. I didn't bother with the whisky this time, but you could do if you wanted. But like I said, I would add it just before the chicken stock to let the alcohol have time to burn off. And it is quite nice as well. Like I said, very traditional with Balmoral chicken. So do let me know what you thought of that one. I think they're a fab idea, and they're ever so tasty as well. We had these for our tea with some roast potatoes and a wee bit of buttered swede on the side, and I also had some extra sauce which I put on the top as well, and it was really, really tasty. So thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, yeah, a huge big thank you to the supporters of the channel over on my Patreon page, to the channel members here as well, and for you all for watching and leaving your lovely comments, and for all your support throughout the year. It really does mean ever so much, and for those that share the videos as well. And I will catch up with you during the week for another wee recipe, back on Saturday for our food unbagging, or back on Sunday for our family meals of the week. And obviously coming up in December, lots of nice festive recipes as well. But whenever you choose to join me again, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you off as soon back here on What's for Tea. So take care, and bye for now. Bye now.